Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. In this one, I'd like to take a look at a Diplin Thwackey deck that I found from Japan. So, if you don't know what Diplin or Thwackey do, you've been living under a rock or something. Basically, the new Diplin says if you have a stadium called Festival Grounds in play, this Pokemon can use an attack it has twice. And if the first attack knocks out your opponent's active Pokemon, then you get to attack again. And its only attack is Do the Wave, and for a single grass energy, this attack does 20 damage for each of your benched Pokemon, which doesn't seem super powerful. However, the Thwackey has the ability Boom Boom Drum. It says once in your turn, if your active Pokemon has the Festival Lead ability, you may search your deck for a card and put it into your hand. So basically, all you need to do is get a Diplin into the active spot, which is very easy. And then we get to use Thwackey to find the stadium. Or if we already have the stadium in our hand or something, then we can just use Thwackey to find whatever we need to set up the next Diplin and so forth. So yeah, that's kind of like the main gist of the deck, and it's a fairly simple deck to play from what I can tell. It's very easy to set up because we have cards like Buddy Buddy Poffin to search our deck for 2 basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less and put them onto the bench, which just so happens to be every basic Pokemon in this deck. There's no Radiant Greninja or anything like that, so it is literally just all Pokemon with 70 HP or less. This deck is also playing 4 copies of the new Bugcatcher set. So, also, by the way, I'm just over on Justin Basil's proxies. This is a great site for, just proxies in general if you want to copy and paste some English images. But yeah, fantastic site. But I'll just scroll down here to the trainers, as the rest of these Pokemon aren't super relevant. But yeah, Bugcatcher set says look at the top 7 cards of your deck. You may reveal up to 2 in any combination of grass Pokemon and basic grass energy you find there, and put them into your hand. Then shuffle the other cards back into your deck. So this is a fantastic item just because it will allow you to find any of your grass Pokemon, which are key and very important, as well as your grass energy. Now, one thing that I'm not super optimistic about this list really is the fact that it's only playing 6 basic grass energy. Even though you only need 1 manual attachment to attack, I would still maybe crank this up to 7 or 8 copies. Just to avoid the risk of if you prize one, you have to discard one or something. It might get a wee bit awkward always having to rely on stuff like Thwackey and Draw Sporters to find basic energy. So that's just something I would personally change, but it's just food for thought, I guess. But yeah, Bugcatcher set will definitely help with finding basic energy as well as your Pokemon. And this is, of course, great when, your deck is down to 16 or so cards. Then you play a Super Rod, you shuffle a bunch of them back in, then you can easily Bugcatcher set to try and hit them. So yeah, very cool in that regard. This deck is also playing some other new cards. It's also playing this supporter down here, which I believe is called... Where are they? Kieran, there we go. So Kieran says either switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon, or during this turn, your Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon EX or Pokemon V. And why this is quite relevant in this deck is because Do the Wave isn't strictly doing a lot of damage. What is it capping out? It's 100 damage or something? Yeah, 100 for each of your bench Pokemon. So you're really not doing a whole lot of damage with the Diplin. So being able to just modify it slightly to potentially get a 2-hit KO on, something like, I guess, an Iron Hands or an Iron Crown EX, for example. It's the ones that come to mind, or something like Chien-Pao, just makes the deck a lot easier to play. And, you're not relying on necessarily you do want to use the Festival Lead exploit at least once or twice in the game to potentially get a 3-prize or 2-prize turn against other single-prize decks. But Do the Wave isn't really doing a lot of base damage anyway, so you will have to modify it quite a bit. And you might have noticed in this list already, it's also playing 4 different ways of modifying the damage. So I believe this is a Vitality Band. Wait, is that can't be a Vitality Band, surely. I'll have to double check what this card actually is. I think it might be... Yeah, is it a Vitality Band? I thought Vitality Band rotated, actually. Does anyone know what this card is? Is this just another artwork of the choice belt? Because I think it might be. But yeah, we're playing 4 different belts. Not sure what that belt is. I'll have to double check that. But, got a Defiance Band here, which will allow you to do 30 more damage if your opponent is winning the game and ahead in prizes. Then 1 Choice Belt. Know for sure that is a Choice Belt. So plus 30 damage to Pokemon V. And then a Maximum Belt to do plus 50 damage to Pokemon EX. So yeah, the deck has plenty of belts to choose from, but, It's cool to see so many belts being used, but either way, you do have to modify that damage. The only other new card in the deck, apart from the stadium, which we can talk about more in a second, the only other new card in the deck is this Lana, which, if we scroll down here, this Lana's Care says put up to 3 in any combination of Pokemon that don't have a Roblox and basic energy from the discard pile into your hand. So it is essentially a worse Clara, because Clara allowed you to find up to 2 Pokemon, up to 2 basic energy. But either way, I suppose you could find your 3 Pokemon with Lana's Care. You can't do that with Clara. But either way, a very cool supporter and just a nice one-off to have, especially if you can Thwackey for it. So that's quite cool. Also playing 2 Super Rod anyway to keep up a bit, but fairly simple. And then 4 copies of the Festival Ground Stadium, which is the one that allows you to... Okay, so basically Festival Ground says each Pokemon that has any energy attached to them can't be affected by any special conditions. I'm personally a wee bit decisive on like how I feel about this because, I think it's a shame you can't basically play like Brute by Night in this deck with a booster capsule and essentially get the poison damage. Like you can't do that with Diplin, which kind of sucks a bit. I really wish this was here. It also means you just can't play like any stadiums really like Artisan potentially, and you can't play things like the Studio that increases your damage by +10. That could be quite nice. But yeah, no Festival Grounds, and yeah, it's a bit sad. But yeah, I think this list is pretty cool. It's a very nice starting point. Everything seems to be in order. There's nothing too crazy here. Maybe I would play like 1 copy of Tatsuguri. I know Cleffa kind of serves a very similar function as well as being a pivot. But honestly, I think Tatsuguri is just a wee bit better than Cleffa in this deck. So yeah, I'd expect to see a Tatsuguri in here. For those of you who don't know what Tatsuguri does, by the way, it has the ability to attract customers. It says once your turn, if this Pokemon is the active spot, you may look at the top 6 cards of your deck, reveal the sports card you find there, and shuffle the rest back in. And then it also has a retreat cost of 1 and 70 HP. So it's basically just perfect for use of a skateboard and finding it with Arven. So yeah, fantastic card overall, and I would definitely consider Tatsuguri for this deck. But yeah, let me know what you think down below. Do you think you'll be trying out the Diplin Thwackey deck? And yeah, thank you for watching.